The history of a club is as important as the memory the club shared, whether in good times or in tough times. So, a club is as important as the history they shared. The coming of Jose Mourinho to Stamford Bridge with Benfica in the UEFA Champions League brought back lots of memory that Chelsea have actually shared in time past with some legendary people in the club. Jose Mourinho, during his press conference prior to the match against Chelsea Football Club in the Champions League, had the second longest Chelsea staff member present in that conference hall. And after the press conference, Teresa Connelly was just there to give Jose Mourinho a lovely hug. And that goes to tell you the history that Chelsea had as a football club. She has been serving in Chelsea Football Club during the first stint of Jose Felix Mourinho in 2004 to 2007, and also when Jose Mourinho came back 2013 to 2015, she is still serving. And today, when Jose Mourinho came back with Benfica for the UEFA Champions League clash, Teresa Connelly is still serving in Chelsea Football Club as one of Chelsea's staff member. She's currently in the club for 48 years. Not only did Teresa Connelly appear in that conference hall to have a hug with Jose Mourinho, but also the number one longest serving staff member of Chelsea Football Club also came around. Check this out. Hugs for legendary former Chelsea employee Brent Pullman, who came back from retirement especially for this match. She came back from retirement especially for this match, and for one purpose. And what is that purpose? Check this out. Jose Mourinho still gets his favorite biscuit. Brent Pullman worked for Chelsea for 56 years and retired in 2024. But he was at Stamford Bridge tonight to make sure Jose Mourinho got his custard cream biscuit. That's fun memory, man. Good to see. Brent Pullman is the longest serving staff member of Chelsea Football Club for 56 years. He retired last year in 2024 and was part of Chelsea staff when Jose Mourinho was Chelsea manager in his first era, and also when Jose Mourinho came back for the second time. Brent Pullman was actually there, and it was fun to see Brent Pullman come out of retirement to actually serve Jose Mourinho his favorite, talking about the cream biscuit. And that is fun memory. So that is the rich history that Chelsea have actually shared, having staff members who have served for over half a century and one currently serving for almost half a century. It was pretty good to see Teresa Connelly and Brent Pullman in Chelsea history. That's great for both. And this is what Jose Mourinho went on to say. I don't feed myself with this memory. I feed myself with victories. Another great line from Jose Mourinho. Absolutely. He doesn't feed himself, according to Jose Mourinho, with those memories. He feeds himself with victories. And victories, which he had with Chelsea, is what is actually pulling out those memories. Lovely memories, I must say, that Jose Mourinho have had in his return to Stamford Bridge. And it has been very emotional for Jose Mourinho. And this is what Jose Mourinho went to say on his parting word after the game. Jose Mourinho on his return to Stamford Bridge. Hopefully I come here with my grandkids in 20 years. They belong to my history. I belong to their history. And he was actually referring to Chelsea here. That hopefully they will be back in Stamford Bridge with his grandkids. Because Chelsea belongs to his history. And he also belongs to Chelsea's history. And it's always great seeing great managers who have actually made history for club like Chelsea, talking about Jose Mourinho, come back, having this good memory, despite the 1-0 loss against Chelsea. But then, as a professional, he actually knew that this is where he actually made history for himself. And Chelsea have that heritage of keeping that rich history with people that have actually made history with them. So it was good to see Jose Mourinho back in the bridge. After that game against Benfica, talking about the UEFA Champions League, lots of reaction have actually trailed that particular game. And this time around, from the players. And this is what Marc Guiu has to say, as reported by Neza Kinsella. Check this out. Marc Guiu calls on Chelsea improvement over red cards and says it has limited Alejandro Garnacho's chances. Absolutely. Absolutely, Marc Guiu is spot on. I know lots of us will still remember the incident that happened at Old Trafford when Chelsea were down to 10 men. Camera have shown Enzo Maresca talking to Alejandro Garnacho twice. The same thing happened against Brighton. But yet, because of red card, Enzo Maresca did not actually bring on Alejandro Garnacho in those particular games. And in the UEFA Champions League, Marc Guiu is actually looking at the performance, the wonderful performance, great performance, the impact Alejandro Garnacho had in the game. And is actually advising, encouraging his teammates that we have to improve with the rate at which we get this red card, because it limits the chances of players like Alejandro Garnacho who have a lot to offer the club. And that is the point Marc Guiu is actually making. Another player that actually spoke after the game, none other than Badiashile, one man who actually made the starting 11 in that particular encounter, having been out for 94 days, not playing football for Chelsea Football Club. And here is what Benoit Badiashile has to say about his own teammates. Take a look at this. Benoit Badiashile has backed Estevao to have a big impact at Chelsea. Estevao is a magic player. It will make a big difference for us over the next few years. We are really happy to have him with us. He's really good. Absolutely. The 18-year-old Brazilian international is truly a magician, just the way Benoit Badiashile actually said. And as a Chelsea fan, I'm very much happy to know that we were able to secure the signing of Estevao William. Great lad, and I believe is on the way to becoming a legend with Chelsea Football Club. Now, there are lots of big news that have happened and still related to Chelsea's striking force per se. And currently, Liam Delap is out injured. And Joao Pedro, prior to the UEFA Champions League game, was not fully fit, has been playing under pains. And when he came on in the second half of that particular encounter, we saw Joao Pedro picked up a red card and will definitely miss Chelsea next UEFA Champions League game because it was 2 yellow cards, not straight red. So 2 yellow cards accumulated to a red, and Joao Pedro was sent off. And this report about Chelsea's striking department is coming up from The Athletic. Check this out. Victor Osimhen scored 37 goals in 41 games for Galatasaray last term. His winner against Liverpool on Tuesday was his third in 5 games this season. And it was also his 6th in 6 career games against English clubs. It does beg the question, if he keeps scoring against English teams, why didn't an English team get in to score for them? Actually, that is actually a big question. There is no doubt that Victor Osimhen is a proven striker, arguably the best striker in the world of football today. I think you can put him alongside with Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, and possibly Victor Gyökeres, who actually done great stuff with Sporting Lisbon. But yet, he has started to show himself in the Arsenal colour, but we hope to see that. But talking about Victor Osimhen, the question begging for answer is, if he keeps scoring against English team, why didn't an English team get Victor Osimhen? Because what he did against Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League, aside the penalty he scored, Victor Osimhen was a monster. It troubles Liverpool defense line from the 72 minutes left in that particular encounter after scoring that penalty. Here's the report, as the Athletic went on to say. Chelsea signed Liam Delap and Joao Pedro instead, but neither has Osimhen's track record. Osimhen scored the winner, a penalty, admittedly, but that was arguably some way down the list of the most impressive aspect of his performance. For the rest of the 72 minutes he was on the pitch, the Nigerian striker was a menace, charging at the Liverpool defense, making smart runs and sharp interception, carving out chances for himself and his teammate. A loop after spotting Alisson off his line was a few inches away from being one of the goals of the season. Absolutely. Victor Osimhen, aside scoring that penalty against Liverpool, was a thorn on the defense line of Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk and Konate actually felt the pressure of the Nigeria international. And the question remained, why didn't an English team sign Victor Osimhen? We all knew that Chelsea were interested in the Nigeria international at some point. Talking about I think it was the January transfer window, and Chelsea was unable to get him on loan. And the transfer window closes, and he ended up joining Galatasaray. But currently, I'm happy for him as a Nigerian and as a Chelsea fan. I'm happy for him because the Nigerian international is currently breaking and setting new record with Galatasaray in Istanbul. And it goes to show the stuff he is made of when Liverpool visited Istanbul in the UEFA Champions League. And Victor Osimhen was the man of the moment and went up to pick up the man of the match performance in that particular encounter. The Athletic went on to put this report. Chelsea considered buying a replacement for Nicolas Jackson in the final 48 hours of the window as negotiations with Bayern Munich continued. But they opted against it, partly because at such a late stage, there was not a standout candidate, as reported by the Athletics. We all knew how this went down during the summer transfer window, when Nicolas Jackson has actually secured a late move to join Bayern Munich on loan. At that point, Chelsea also went for Kanot Adler that ended up signing for RB Leipzig. But why Chelsea didn't go for any striker? It's because they have in mind that Liam Delap and Joao Pedro will actually be good enough to get Chelsea up and running in the season. But little did we know that injury being part of the game, Liam Delap has been out injured, and Joao Pedro currently now is not fully fit, and in the UEFA Champions League have actually secured a red card. And the injury of Liam Delap prompted Chelsea to call back Marc Guiu from loan. And as we speak, Marc Guiu is yet to kick a ball in the Chelsea colour. And one will begin to wonder, you have Marc Guiu on the bench, but you opted for Tyreek George to start as false 9 against Benfica in the UEFA Champions League. Could it be Chelsea no longer want to use Marc Guiu? Well, we'll get the answer to this question in the near future. But check out this report as also coming from Chelsea transfer. And the Athletic went on to report, Marc Guiu has yet to play a minute since coming back. Appearing for Chelsea would mean he could not be loaned out again in January, because you cannot play for more than 2 clubs in a single campaign. There surely has to be a factor, even though it is not ideal for the player's development. The report went on to say, Marc Guiu has yet to play a minute since coming back. Appearing for Chelsea would mean he could not be loaned out again in January, because you cannot play for more than 2 clubs in a single campaign. That surely has to be a factor, even though it is not ideal for the player's development. And that is the report currently on Marc Guiu. And the way it looks like, Chelsea have actually not done pretty well concerning the Marc Guiu situation, because the player was already enjoying his loan spell with Sunderland. And after that injury with Liam Delap, Marc Guiu was the option to be recalled back from loan. But yet, as we speak, Marc Guiu is yet to play a minute in Chelsea colour since after coming back from loan. And January is just by the corner. After the international break, pretty soon it will be January. And I think what Chelsea are still planning to do is to loan the player, since now they are actually considering not using him. Because if Chelsea gets to use him, Marc Guiu will not be able to go out on loan again. Because according to the rule in football, you cannot play for more than 2 clubs in a single season. And in this campaign already, Marc Guiu have had some couple of games with Sunderland before coming back to Chelsea. So we hope to see how this play out in the coming days. So there is news on Enzo Maresca, and Chelsea is looking to see how to review Enzo Maresca's contract at the end of the season. Whether he continues or he stays is up to Chelsea board to decide. But here's a report coming in from Kieran Gill. Enzo Maresca will be reviewed at the end of the season, and a key area of judgment will be whether or not he secures UEFA Champions League football again. Chelsea believes this season's squad is better than last season. The report went on to say, Enzo Maresca is facing an end-of-season review into his future as Chelsea head coach, having been told at his appointment that he would be given at least 2 years before an examination of his performance. Interesting. For the record, Enzo Maresca signed 5 years contract with Chelsea in 2024 with an option for a further 1 year. But the report have it now that Chelsea actually told him that he will be assessed after 2 years of his performance, and that is why this report is coming now, that at the end of the season, Enzo Maresca will be assessed. As it was likely reported before, Chelsea have given Enzo Maresca a target of qualifying for UEFA Champions League next season. But in my opinion, I don't think we have reduced ourselves down to this level, that qualifying for UEFA Champions League has actually becomes the target. That shouldn't be. Last season, that was a target he was given. And this season, the same target. I think Chelsea have to do much better, because setting UEFA Champions League qualification as a target is not what Chelsea stand for, and it's not what we represent. And as in the word of Jose Mourinho, Chelsea is a winning machine. And what we are known for is to win trophies, season in, season out. And that will always be our trademark. So, that is on Enzo Maresca. There is the latest that is about to go down in Italy, talking about the San Siro Stadium. San Siro, that has been long the home ground of Inter Milan and AC Milan, will soon be demolished. Take a look at this report from the Athletics. Milan City Council passed a vote approving the sale of San Siro to Inter and Milan on Tuesday, which clears the path for the construction of a new stadium on the site. The sale is expected to be ratified once due diligence has been completed at the beginning of November. Plans for the new stadium will see San Siro, which the two rivals clubs share as their home ground, mostly demolished, and only 10% of the existing structure of the stadium expected to remain. There is currently no indication of where the two sites will play while the new site is being worked on. So in the near future, we'll get to know the ground that Inter Milan and AC Milan will be using as their home front to play football while the construction is going on. And everything will come to fusion by November. Now check this out as the report continues. A long goodbye to San Siro has begun. By the time Italy could host the Euros with Turkey in 2032, a new 71,500 capacity stadium should stand on the car park adjacent to the current Stadio Giuseppe Meazza. Emotions will run high over the demolition of a grand Milanisti and Intristi have called home since 1926. This is where all the memories were made. Here in one place. And experiencing the mastic of San Siro was a box to be ticked on every fan's bucket list. But change is needed. The 1.2 billion euro redevelopment project is seeking to keep Milan and Inter relevant. Interesting. San Siro has been in existence since 1926, and pretty soon it will be demolished for a redevelopment. And like the saying always goes, the only thing that is constant in life is change. In as much as sometimes we doesn't need those changes, but they are inevitable. But Inter Milan and AC Milan will have to choose another ground for this change to happen. And a new stadium of 71,500 capacity, worth around 1.2 billion euro, will be reconstructed on the site. And as a report have it, only 10% of that stadium will not be demolished. But then, a new San Siro will be rebated, and the old one will no longer be in existence. Lots of experience, lots of memories, lots of history shared between Inter Milan and AC Milan at the San Siro. But then, change, like they say, is inevitable. What do you make of all the letters that I've actually brought to you in this particular video? Drop your thoughts down below. And like the Athletics asks, do you think English team actually made a mistake for not signing Victor Osimhen, who have actually been a thorn on the defense line of English clubs? Drop your thoughts down below. Thank you very much for watching, and catch you in my next video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.